To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Lockhart Perspective. Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day. Yeah, yeah. Everything you need to know that you never knew, that you need to know. Lockhart Perspective.
Okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but hello. Hello and welcome to Saturday Night is Live. We don't have any guests with us this evening, but we are going to, let me make sure I got my sound right. Okay, I think I got it, yeah. We're going to have a lot of great topics that we're talking about tonight. Specifically, we're looking at Black women in business, Black women in positions. And I'm going to tell you guys something. What I have thought about for the longest time was that a lot of these individuals were being put in place because they simply could create havoc. And I think maybe somebody, behind the scenes may be championing them to do just that. I don't know for sure, but I tell you, I look at Miss, what is her name? The lady out in California, Maxine Waters. She's been in the news, throughout her careers for some good things. And then there's been some bad stuff. And I want to talk about her tonight. We're also looking at the Dolton, Illinois mayor. Now, she holds two positions and she's making a glob of money. And apparently, even though she's making all that money, she's really using up the county's money or the city's money to do a lot of other stuff, to include utilizing the police officers there in that town to protect her. I mean, it's just a town of 20,000 people. So we're looking at her. We're also looking at the gal who was with Facebook. All these positions are very good jobs, and I don't see why there is this level of impropriety, and I don't understand why there is this level of illegality. I don't get it. But for whatever reason, these individuals get these great jobs, and they turn the city upside down. They embarrass themselves, their families, their community, us, all of the above. So first of all, we're going to start with, wow, there's a gal out in East Point. I want to talk about her too. Hello to everyone. The Watchman, Sandy, Steve, Daryl Calhoun, Derek C. Williams. How are you? Man, I would love to have you up tonight. I know it's a short notice, but I'd love to hear your take on this. I would love to hear your take because I already see, Daryl, you got a couple of things going on in the chat right now. If you do want it, then I'll go ahead and send it to you. Nipped. Daryl Calhoun says nipped. William, hello, William. How are you doing this evening? Joy Trujillo, hello. Good to see you, King BJ. Come on down. I didn't know you were even available tonight. I would have loved to have had you on tonight. As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and send you a link just in case you decide you do want to join in if you're able to. And that would be wonderful. I'm going to send that to you right now in hopes that you can join me. So King BJ, look inside of your email. Okay, I'm going to send that to you right now. Okay, we'll send that one out to you. Okay, so now you should have that in the next couple of minutes. If you don't already have it, I went to your Yahoo account. All right, so there you go. That's in your Yahoo. I hope it's supposed to go to your Yahoo account. But nonetheless, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to cover tonight. And a lot of this stuff is actually sort of embarrassing to me. And I think the reason why I'm so embarrassed is because, I tell you, for the longest time, I really thought that it would be good to see people that are in, different communities just have this. I really always thought that politics and local politics should resemble the community. and that they should have the community's best interest at heart. The only unfortunate piece is it looks that those who are attached to a specific party seem to mar the whole entire thing. I mean, they tear it up. Philadelphia Mayor Sherelle Parker is already implementing woke policies here. Well, let me send this to you too, because you may want to come on, and I hope that you are. And don't be coming on here, Mr. Derek C., and then just rolling out to me. I just wanted to say that little bitty thing. Don't y'all know he does that all the time because he's got such great information and he's got such great insight. And I'm not sure if you guys saw him recently, but he was on, I think I shared it out with a lot of people. He was on a lot of stuff. Hey, Flow State, you too. Hey, I'd love to see everybody that wants to come. I don't want to put the link out there because you guys, you know, the last time we put the link out there, it was pretty creepy to say the least. Hello, Sandy. Thank you, guys. Yes, that does help us out a lot, to be honest with you. And I know that for the most of you who are YouTubers yourself, you do know the significance of hitting that like button because it does help us out an awful lot. It helps us out so much you would just never imagine. That pretty much tells them that you're interested in what we're doing over here, that you're interested in the content, and that you want to help us, you know, push this out into the ether, as it were. And so that's something that I would love to see you guys do. So what I'd like to ask you to do, if you can, hit the like button. If you have the ability to share it, you can definitely share it. That would be helpful to us as well. Anything else that you can do to help us, that would be outstanding. So yeah, so we're going to get right into it. And hopefully you guys have already heard this, so therefore you can chime in. And we're going to go on ahead and start with, I think the first gal that I don't know if I want to start with Fani Willis. I don't know if I want to start with Miss Fani because Miss Fani, she's been cutting up. But you know what? I understand that there was other allegations that she had from Trump last year when she first started this whole fiasco with trying to get him to be in all this deep water. Again, I'm not necessarily subscribing to anybody. I'm not saying anybody is great, but I do know that when I see something that's bad, I'm going to talk about it. If it's wrong, it's wrong, and right is right. So we're going to touch base with Fani first, only because we already know her story. We already know what's going on with her, and it's easier to get that out of the way so that we can move into the juicy stuff. No, somebody didn't say Beetlejuice. We're going to talk about Beetlejuice too, because don't you know she messed herself up? Don't you know that she messed herself up? She didn't need no help. She messed herself up. She really did. I think that she sort of sealed her own fate. She messed herself around. So let's go on ahead and get into the first story, which is going to basically be a recap for everybody who already knows. Hey, Black Spring with Autumn, how are you, Princess? It is so good to see you. And Anonymous, it's good to see you anonymously. It's good to see you. Okay, so let me go ahead and give you guys the whole screen like I love to do and make sure that I make it big enough for everybody to see it. Okay, let me make sure that I make it big enough for everybody to see it. All right, so it goes on to say here that a 127-page court document filed on Monday alleges that Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis was embroiled in an improper clandestine personal relationship with a married private attorney whom she ultimately hired to spearhead the prosecution of former President Donald Trump's Georgia election interference case. The alleged affair is said to have been mutually beneficial and to have involved possible criminality, extra to suggesting that Willis is ethically compromised by her relationship with Nathan Wade, who is now in divorce proceedings. The filing claimed that the Democratic daughter of, top Black Panther may have been involved in the commission of a federal crime prosecutable under the federal racketeering statutes. Boy, I hate to use this, but I'm going to use it, pun intended. Ain't that the pot calling the kettle black? All right, let's keep it pushing. Reported the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. The court motion was filed on Monday in Superior Court of Fulton County on behalf of Michael Roman, a former President Donald Trump campaign official who is a co-defendant in the Republican frontrunner's Georgia case. Roman served as the director of Election Day operations for Trump's 2020 re-election campaign, and he was indicted in 2023 on charges of conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree, in violation of the Georgia RICO Act, conspiracy to commit false statements and writings, conspiracy to commit impersonating a public officer, and conspiracy to commit filing false documents. The aim of the Monday filing is to have the charges that Willis brought against Roman dismissed on the grounds that the entire prosecution is invalid and unconstitutional because the Fulton County District Attorney never had legal authority to appoint the special prosecutor who assisted in obtaining both grand jury indictments. As a result, both indictments contain structural errors and irreparable deficits and should be dismissed in their entirety. The motion further requests that the court disqualify Willis, her supposed lover. Boy. Oh, Lordy, girl, they got your slip out. They got every homegirl, supposed lover. Lord Jesus, help her, Lord, help her. She going down for the last time. Oh, wait a minute. Let me come on the screen for this one. Oh, wait a minute. Lord have mercy. They done put this woman's whole business out in the streets for everybody to see, or did she put her business out there in the streets? Ooh, okay, let me finish, y'all. Pot calling the kettle black, baby. Pot calling the kettle black. You know, Big B, it is, but I tell you one thing, they allow themselves to be used like this. That's the sad part. That is so terrible. All right. So, quote, the district attorney and the special prosecutor have violated laws regulating the public use of monies, suffer from irreparable conflicts of interest, and have violated their oaths of office under the Georgia rules of professional conduct and should be disqualified from prosecuting this matter, said the filing. Nathan Wade, a critical element of the prosecution against Trump in Georgia, was formerly a prosecutor in Cobb County, where he never prosecuted a felony case, according to the filing. Now, Newsweek noted that Wade ran 3 times to become a judge in Cobb County Superior Court between 2012 and 2016 and failed in all 3 instances. Well, now I lived in Georgia for several years, and they are a very old county, Cobb County. Cobb County has even though they have a lot of different people living there right now, there are, you know how they used to talk about old money, old politics, old money, the old boys network. He was never going to become a Cobb County court judge. He was never going to become a Cobb County court judge. He just wasn't. And I know why. I mean, I lived out there for a minute. All right. Anyway, let's go on. Here it says the motion claims that without the approval of the Fulton County Board of Commissioners required by law, Willis hired Wade in November of 2021. The New York Times previously characterized Wade as an old friend of Willis. The day after he entered into his contract, Wade filed for divorce. The filing claims that sources close to both the special prosecutor and the district attorney have confirmed that they've had an ongoing personal relationship during the pendency of the special prosecutor's divorce proceedings. The filing further alleges that according to these sources, the personal relationship between Willis and Wade began before the prosecution was initiated and before the district attorney appointed the special prosecutor. The journal, it's actually the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, indicated that there is no definitive proof in the filing of the relationship besides the assertions by the unnamed sources. Now, I'm going to put a pin here and I'm going to say that some of the unnamed sources are people in the city, people who work in the courthouses, people who are in the know with what's going on. Because the one thing I'll tell you about is that any job, any company that you ever work for, whether it be in the private sector, whether it's in the public sector, no matter where it is, it could be even a regular dress boutique. Gossip spreads pretty quickly. Don't you agree? Gossip spreads quickly, and if your business is out there in the streets, baby, somebody gonna pick it up and run with it. And so that is what they mean by the unnamed sources. Now it goes on to say, however, Roman's lawyer Ashley Merchant appears to have found something of interest when reviewing the case file in Wade's ongoing divorce proceedings. While she made copies, the case remains under seal, according to Merchant, and indicated she will wait to share the information from the divorce file once a judge has unsealed it. Now, depending on who that judge is, and depending on how close that judge and Fani Willis are, we may or may not ever see it. If this person is an ethical judge, and from what I understood, it was sealed without, and it wasn't supposed to be sealed. That's what I understand. But it says, according to the filing, Wade used Fulton County funds received by the law firm to pay for luxurious vacations he supposedly took with Willis. Yeah. Wade and Willis allegedly traveled to Napa Valley, California, as well as Florida, and they cruised the Caribbean together. And I saw that there was at least 2 cruises that they had taken. I think one was Royal Caribbean, and I don't remember what the other one was, but I know I read up on 2. It said Wade, whose compensation is authorized by Willis, has reportedly been paid over $650,000 in legal fees since January of 2022. And that's according to county records. Quote, Wade is being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to prosecute this case on her behalf. In turn, Wade is taking Willis on and paying for vacations across the world with money that he's being paid by the Fulton County taxpayers and authorized solely by Willis. So do you see what this can look like? All right. Even if this thing goes or it doesn't go, what it looks like is, okay, baby, we've been seeing each other for a minute. And what we're going to do is I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to make you the special prosecutor. When I make you the special prosecutor, all those trips that we wanted to go on, you're not going to pay out of your pocket so your wife can't see it. And I'm not going to pay out of pocket. Now, I do understand that Willis is now divorced. She's now divorced. Now, I don't know if she was married when all this started, but I do know that one of the cases, one of the actual articles that I've read shows that she was actually in a marriage, and it shows that, the divorce happened after all of the relationship stuff started bumping around. But here's the thing. Would you harm yourself and your spouse? Would you do that? Would you harm yourself and your spouse as such a public figure as to mess where you eat? You remember that old phrase? That old phrase was, don't mess where you eat. And mess is another word. It starts with the H, sugar, honey, iced tea. Don't sugar, honey, iced tea where you sleep. Don't sugar, honey, iced tea where you eat. That's it. That's what it means. Hey, Mike Garber. That's what it means. Do not mess where you eat. So apparently, according to this, it says the motion further alleged that Willis' apparent intentional failure to disclose her conflict of interest to the Fulton County and the court, combined with her decision to employ the special prosecutor based on her own personal interests, may well be an act to defraud the public of honest service, since the district attorney personally benefited from an undisclosed conflict of interest. I mean, I can see that. It says not only might such conduct have mounted a federal crime. Now, isn't that amazing? She, to me, and you guys let me know what you think about this in the comments. I don't think she had the authority to get at Trump. I mean, when you just look at the laws and the way that they're written, when you look at the fact that she was supposed to be governing Fulton County, anybody out there, let me know, because I'm not an attorney. But does it seem like she had the authority to get him on a RICO case? I don't know that she did. But honestly, I don't think that a lot of these cases really care about it. I do not believe that a lot of the cases that they have going on, and we're going to talk about the other lady that's having a case against Trump as well. I don't really think that they care whether or not they had standing. I believe that they just wanted to throw enough mud on the wall so that they would mar it in public opinion, that the public opinion of Trump would be such that everybody says he's illegal, he's doing this, he's doing that. So basically, they don't necessarily need truth. Does that make sense? They necessarily do not need the truth. All they need is enough crap on the wall, right? To get him where they want him. But here's the bad part. Half these chicks that's doing all this stuff, I don't know whether they put them all in a room and told them, girl, we're going to get you hooked up. Don't you worry about a thing. We're going to take care of you. We got your back. All we need you to do is say this. All we need you to do is do this. All we need you to do is make sure that on the day that the voting is supposed to start in your city, that you make sure you have him in court, that you put him someplace in court. That's all we need you to do, is to make sure that he shows up in Fulton County, make sure that he shows up in New York, make sure that he shows up here, so that way we can make sure we keep him detained long enough. I'm going to tell you guys this. This is what I believe. This is one big, gigantic show. And this guy is stuck someplace in Nevada, like I said the other night on headlines. Then we got a problem, Houston. We got a real big problem. But let's go on ahead and finish this, because in my opinion, she's believing somebody. And the person that she's believing does not have her best interest at heart, especially if girlfriend gets picked up on RICO. All right. All right. So it says not only might such conduct have amounted to a federal crime, the filing suggests it could be prosecuted under the federal racketeering statute. Pallavi Bailey, a spokeswoman for Willis, told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, that the DA's office is going to respond to the allegations through the appropriate court filings. Wade, meanwhile, did not respond when the paper asked for a comment. He didn't have anything to say. But baby, I bet you if you can find his wife coming out that nail shop, she gonna reach around and rip homegirl a brand new one. It says this is not the first time in recent months Willis's prosecutorial integrity has been challenged. The House Judiciary Committee, and you guys remember we did that whole story. It says the House Judiciary Committee launched an investigation last year into Willis regarding her motivations for prosecuting Trump. The Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan explicitly noted in an August 2023 letter, quote, "Your indictment and prosecution implicate substantial federal interests, and the circumstances surrounding your actions raise serious concerns about whether they are politically motivated." That is what he asked at that time. And I tell you, he was absolutely right to say that, because they waited close to 2 years to even put this up. But she has got to be getting some money from somewhere, a kickback from somebody, for her to potentially be disbarred. She risks the opportunity to be disbarred. If all things are equal, which lately we know they have not been, if all things are equal, by and large and by right, she should be put up on charges. If after they do all the undigging and all the unveiling, they find out that this woman has been tripping, then they need to go head on and deal with her. But I don't see it as being that way. I've not seen anybody receive any of the punishment that they should receive. Even like I said, even off the topic of the women that we're talking about tonight, like I said the other day, Hunter Biden is doing a new what are those things? A documentary. He's doing a documentary on his quote unquote drug addiction. And here he goes and parades right in front of Congress after he said he didn't even want to go in there and talk when it was time for him to do his deposition, because that's the way things are generally done. If charges are being brought, then they generally have a deposition, and generally those depositions are closed door. They're not open to the public so that they can talk and get down to the nitty gritty. This cat goes and shows out. They are thumbing their nose in the face of the judicial system in America right now. There is a point of lawlessness here. There is a point of absolute lawlessness. The whole entire place is a mess. So that's funny. And again, I don't know who's buttering her bread or what side her bread is buttered on. But whoever got the butter knife, baby, they running this chick up a wall, because I don't see any of them standing for her after this whole thing unfolds. Here's the thing. If for whatever reason This is just something that she decided she wanted to do her on her own. In other words, have this relationship, and the people who appointed her, and I feel she was appointed, who got her to do what she's doing right now, had no clue that she was dealing with this man, or that wasn't their business, and that's how they felt. It's not my business. I guarantee you they're going to leave this chick to drown. They are going to leave her out there because that's not what they signed up for. Okay, Steve Willis says this woman should actually go viral. I'm talking about Fifi. I thought you were talking about. I thought you were talking about this gal that she should go viral. Well, honey, I thank you. I sure appreciate you. But I'm going to tell you guys, I truly and honestly feel like somebody got their hands in this chick's pocket. I believe that what happens is when a person gets so much money and they get so much backing from people who keep pumping them up to do stuff that's wrong, they really believe that they're infallible. They honestly believe that there's nothing anybody can do or say that will stop them. They feel like they're on this upward trajectory and nobody can take them down. But baby, sometimes you got to understand that what goes up must come down. In tandem with what goes up must come down, you got to also realize that there's such a thing as called karma. And if you don't like the word karma, well, you can use divine reciprocity. You can use sowing and reaping. You can what you reap, what you sow. No matter what it is, there is no way on this planet you're going to continue to do the things that you're doing, and you never, ever, ever become responsible for it. With that said, I want us to go to Dalton, Illinois. I want to go to Dalton, Illinois. No, let me do this little baby story because I want to try to save some of the best for last. The thing that I want to look at is this really pretty gal that we did a story about her last week here on the Lockhart Perspective. She worked for Facebook and took $4 million from them. Let's get into that story. I know we need to see that. So let's remove this one. And then we're going to get right into the Facebook girl, because I do want to talk about Dalton, Illinois' mayor, because girlfriend is off the chain. I want to talk about her, but I want to do it going toward the end of the show, not the total end, but somewhat the end. Here it is. A former Facebook diversity program manager pleaded guilty to scamming the social media giant out of $4 million through a scheme in which she faked business deals in exchange for kickbacks, the Justice Department said. Barbara Furlow Smiles, who served as a lead strategist and global head of employee resource groups and diversity and engagement at Facebook, used the stolen funds to live an extravagant lifestyle. I'm going to tell you the problem. You want to know what the problem is? Is that a lot of people in the Black community always have the issue of looking good, putting on the best, wearing the best. Some of them won't ever go into a like I love consignment shops. If I need something, I'll go to a consignment shop because I know that I won't be able to find the stuff that I really, really like without paying a high ticket. They will never go into a consignment shop or a thrift store. They don't do that. They have to have the best. And that's the sad part. See, that's the part that attaches itself to that greed, because the more you got to look like the Joneses and the more you feel like you got to be the Beyoncés of the world or whomever it is that they're trying to, to look like, they keep doing more and more and more. And you can't just get a little bit. They can't just get a little bit of money. This chick did some damage. And not only did she do some damage to herself, but she involved people that were family and friends in her scheme. It says that she used stolen funds to live an extravagant lifestyle that spanned from California to Georgia, prosecutors said, from approximately January of 2017. See, it got good to her. To September of 2021, Furlow Smiles led diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DIE programs at Facebook, and was responsible for developing and executing the DIE initiatives. That's what her job was. That's what her job was. Ooh, whatever. I could go on and on about the DEI, the diverse, equity, and inclusion stuff. Baby, that was not created for what you think it was created for, but let's keep going. According to the DOJ, the Fed said that Furlow Smiles who had access to the company credit cards and the ability to approve invoices as part of her role at the company, quote, caused Facebook to pay numerous individuals, including her friends and relatives. It goes on to say for goods and services that were never provided to the company. So they were providing things for her, but they were not doing things for Facebook, which is what she had the authority to do. It says those individuals will later funnel kickbacks back to Furlow Smiles. Now, that's a pretty girl. You know, I'm going to tell you something. Some people are not made for jail. She ain't made for Large Marge. She get in the cell with Large. Homegirl get in the cell with Large Marge and it's going to be on and popping. She ain't made for jail. You can see that chick is not made for jail. She's really not. She is not made for jail. And some of these people be running around here doing things with impunity as if they can just make it. They don't really care what happens. They are going to do what they want to do. And it doesn't matter what others think, because as long as she's getting that money and being able to get away with it for so long, pretty kid. Look at that. An adorable child. And I don't know whether her mama name is still alive or daddy name is still alive, but that child right there is not made for jail. She gonna get in the cell with Large Marge, and Large Marge is gonna show her what for. That is not nice. She should have just did what she needed to do and did her job and kept doing and kept growing in the company. But no, they got to have it all right now. Now listen, let's finish. Let me give y'all the full screen. No, I didn't say Large Marge. Yes, I did. Okay. Yes, she will be in there, Michael. She sure will. That's exactly what she gonna be. That's right. Large Marge. Sandy, I ain't playing with you tonight. I am not playing with you tonight. Okay, it says those allegedly recruiting to participate in the kickback scheme included some of Hello Smiles' former interns. So you know they talking. Her university tutor, her hairstylist, her babysitters, and nannies, the feds said. It's unclear if any of Hello Smiles' associates are being charged in connection to the case. The Post has reached out to the DOJ for further comment. She also misled Facebook into sending money to entities that did not provide kickbacks, including nearly $10,000 to an artist who created specialty portraits and more than $18,000 to an unnamed preschool. Yeah, girl, I got all my kids in a good school. I got my baby in a good school. This is her right here. It says, Barbara Furlow Smiles pictured at a Facebook DEI event in 2018. And if these people right here are any of her interns, this one right here told. If these are any of her interns, just look at the face on this one. This one right here look like, yeah, I seen her ask me if I wanted some money. She asked me if I wanted some money. But that's a problem right there. Don't you know that? She going to jail. She going to jail. To avoid scrutiny, Furlow Smiles would submit fake expense reports claiming that the individuals were vendors at Facebook events who had helped with marketing and providing merchandise. Furlow Smiles abused a position of trust as a global diversity executive for Facebook to defraud the company of millions of dollars, ignoring the insidious consequences of undermining the importance of her DEI mission. This comes from U.S. Attorney Ryan K. Buchanan. This is totally federal. Buchanan said it in a statement after she pleaded guilty in a Georgia court on that past Tuesday. Now, quote, motivated by greed, she used her time to orchestrate an elaborate criminal scheme in which fraudulent vendors paid her kickbacks in cash. She even involved relatives, friends, and other associates in her crime, all to fund the lavish lifestyle through fraud rather than hard and honest work. And I'm going to tell you something right now. That's what messes it up for a lot of people who are in the quote unquote Black community. Because they mess it up. First of all, we had to deal with the stigma that everybody had with, what is that? When everybody, something, affirmative action. Because I did not like affirmative action. Hire me because I'm the best to do the job. I'm competitive. Let me beat out 10 or 15 other candidates and let me get hired because you wanted me here. So we've had that as a stigma. Now that it's gone, that's there. But now these particular situations, because they had made sure that they had to have a certain amount of this, a certain amount of that, this right here is going to make it hard for people. It is. This chick was over the global. She was in human resources. She was under a tier of human resources globally. They must not have a lot of work to do. You guys know my background as a human resources director. There was no time to breathe. When you have 10 or 12 or 13 call centers under you, this chick was global. She wasn't just in the United States. How does she have time to do all this? She wasn't doing her job. And so I venture to say that what they was doing was watching this chick, because they said it started she was there from 2017 to not long ago. So they had to be watching her. There's no way on the planet you're going to keep her. See, that's how I'm saying it got good to her. It just hit me again. It got good to her. That's what happened. It got good to her. She got away with it the first year, first month, second month, third month, fourth month. She kept getting away with it, but she didn't know they was watching her, probably waiting until she hit a specific dollar amount so that they could get the feds involved. Because I'm going to tell you something. Here's what I'm telling you. When you do not turn in your expense report, they're sending you these gnawing emails. Trust me, I know. Because I was in between several stores when we were opening stores, closing stores, shifting people around, and I kept my expense report in my attaché. It was already completed. My dingy behind, just go to the doggone office, print the thing out and fax it. But I'm dragging it around. I'm like, okay, 2 weeks. And they sending me the email. Like, okay, I got it. Finally, I went ahead and did it. But do you realize that this chick had to literally think of things to put down on that expense report and turn that in? She had to literally fashion lies. This chick is diabolical. A lot of these broads are diabolical. And they're going to jack it up for a whole lot of other black folk. You think Facebook going to hire somebody else to look like her, or they're not going to double check her background? Have you ever stolen a grape? Even when you were a little kid, when you went in the store with your mother, did you eat any of the candy that cost a penny that was in the big gigantic? You ate a piece of candy. Are you sure that was all you took? You didn't. Okay. Did you ever borrow anybody's jewelry without asking? Have you ever gone into a store and taken something that didn't belong to you? They're going to get so deep. They are going to get so deep. This chick had to literally sit up here and imagine what she was putting these people down from 2017 on. That's a diabolical somebody. That's a diabolical MFer right there. She diabolical. She diabolical. She diabolical. Yeah, she is. She diabolical up there, sitting up there grinning with her diabolical self. Sitting up there looking like the Joker. Just diabolical. FBI Special Agent Carrie Farley said Furlough Smiles used lies and deceit to defraud both the vendors and the Facebook employees. There she go. With all of that hair, all of that Facebook hair in her head. Y'all know I love a nice wiglet every now and again. I'm not going to talk about those who put in wiglets, but Homegirl got some wiglets for you. Homegirl said, forget about all of that. If I want a wiglet, I'm going to get me a wiglet or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 or 20. And these bad boys be costing upwards of a couple of grand. It's not just one little wiglet that you get from the lady that's down the street that sells the wiglets. Homegirl got a whole wiglet on. That's a water weave. Okay. She's sitting up there taking off with Facebook's money, got her family and her mom and them, all of them going to jail. They all going to jail. They don't went out and bought all that wiglets, all of them wiglets. And I could just see them getting nervous because they had purchased all them wiglets, waiting for the day before she got caught, because they had been watching her. That's not something that just happened by accident. And her ignorant behind kept going. You see, she's young. Look at the baby teeth. There she go with the African print on. She's got to have the diversity. The DOJ said Meta provided valuable assistance in this investigation. And then had the nerve to say that this was from her LinkedIn page. The The DOJ noted that Meta had provided valuable assistance and cooperation during the investigation. We are cooperating with law enforcement on the case regarding this former program manager, and we will continue to do so, Meta said in a statement. The DOJ said Furlough Smiles ran a two-pronged scheme to defraud Facebook. Boy, you know what, but I got to tell you, somebody defrauding Facebook, really, that is rich, right? They got so many class action suits out there, it ain't even funny. But nonetheless, let me go ahead on and digress for a second. Let me take a few steps back and finish talking about this chick with the unbelievable Facebook weavelets. The DOJ said that Furlough Smiles ran a two-pronged scheme to defraud Facebook. She would pay associates using apps like Venmo and PayPal that were linked to her company credit cards and submit fake expense reports related to those transactions. There she is, When Imani Smiles in France. When Imani Smiles books.com. Look at this is her page. This is her. Oh my Lord, this girl done went out and made herself a Barnes and an Amazon account. Look at this. Spelman College, girl, you done took everybody down with you. It says Barbara F., the chief diversity leader, alum at Nike, Facebook, Meta, MTV, and Cox Communications. Let me come back over on this side. Let me just give her the side eye. This chick had all of this going on for herself. She had all of this going on for herself and chose to defraud the company. You guys, this can't be real. This got to be a setup story. This has got to be a setup story. Ain't nobody done that much for them. Work for Nike. You work for MTV and Cox Communications. You've done all of these great things at a young age like this, and you done stole these people's money and paid 18 grand to go to a daycare for a daycare for your child. You done spent all the. This has got to be a fake story, you guys. This has to be something that says never hire Black women again to top it on to everything else we have. Let's go ahead and finish up because I can't believe this now that I'm seeing this girl's resume. Best-selling author of When Imani Smiles in France. I guess that's her daughter right here. Look at that. That cannot be. This can't be a real story. Talks about, it says branding expert. She's a branding expert. She is a mental health, health, and diversity and inclusion. West Hollywood, California. My Lord. This can't be real. This can't be real. This girl cannot be real. This has to be a made-up story. Yep, definitely made up. When the second toe is bigger or longer than the big toe, it's made up. The second toe is longer than the big toe. It's a made-up story. Look at that. We got it. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. The second toe, longer than the big toe. The associates, most of whom were reportedly unaware that the funds were coming from Facebook, would return the money to Furlough Smiles in cash or via account transfer. The feds released noted that the cash was sometimes delivered to Furlough Smiles wrapped up in T-shirts and other items. They knew it. They knew it. If they turning in the stuff to this heifer all wrapped up in a T-shirt, they knew it. The second part of her scheme, Furlough Smiles steered the Facebook toward using businesses owned by her own friends. Once Facebook had signed off on the deals, she would purportedly approve the fraudulent and inflated invoices on behalf of the vendors in exchange for kickbacks. This should be RICO. Furlough Smiles is slated to be sentenced March 19th. Why? Well, because she went on ahead and said, yeah, I did it. It was me. Yeah. Yeah, that's what she did. Speaking of kickbacks, we're going to look at next. Oh, auntie, Maxine Waters. That's who we're going to look at next. This lady she's a repeat offender, in my opinion. She does stuff with impunity as well. And when she does it with impunity, she doesn't even care. She just keeps going. California, listen, which one is this? Because I've got like 2 stories with her. This is the one from last year in February. Then they've got another one that's up after this one. So let's start with this one first. The title says California Democrat Maxine Waters caught in a new nepotism storm after paying her daughter $192,000 in campaign funds to run slate mailer operations. Karen Waters earned $192,300 for operating her mother's endorsement mailers between January 2021 and December of 2022, according to Federal Election Commission filings. My question is, how do they continue? How are they allowed to keep going? How are they allowed to continue to keep going? Year after year, we found out about this old woman doing the same thing over and over again, and ain't nobody took her out. Nobody took her out. Nobody removed her from office. Look at her daughter. Is that her daughter? Good night, Irene. That's her daughter. Yikes. She looking like yikes too. She looking like yikes. Mama, you think they know? I don't know. Just smile for the camera. Huh? Just smile for the camera. I don't know if they know or not. You don't think they know, do you? Do you think they know you paid me under the table? I don't know. I just said smile for the camera. Hey, look at that pair. They both look like crooks. The daughter looked like a crook. She looked like a crook too. Do you think they know? Look at the face. Let me make it a little bigger. Hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. Wait a minute. Maxine, I hope that you made sure that you got that broccoli out your teeth that we just left at 5-star restaurant eating. Yes, I did. But do you think they gonna know that you gave me that money? And then look, Maxine. No, they do not know. Just smile for the camera. Okay, Mama. Don't she look like that? Okay, Mama. I'll smile, Mama. Wow. And this the face you get left. That's what you get after that. Okay? Herky jerky. Just herky jerky out there in California, just running them up. Just running them up. I feel good. Who was that said that she looked like James Brown? Yikes. You know, she reminds me of Madam. There was a marionette years ago, and the marionette's name was Madam. I forgot the guy who was moving her around, but he had little sticks and he was moving around. It looked like Madam. One in the chat if you look like Madam. One in the chat if you remember Madam. One in the chat. Come on. Hurry it up. Oh, good night, Irene. Here you go. Yeah, here you are. What is this? Maxine Waters, 1992 Congresswoman. Maxine Waters emerged as the leader of Black resistance. And now the Blacks are resisting her. But nobody goes to the polls. Nobody kicks her out. None of it. Karen pictured has received more than $1.2 million since the operation began. And she took every inch of it down there to the Slauson swap meet and bought that outfit. Oh, Lord of mercy. She went down to the Slauson swap meet and bought that outfit because that's all they do. See, that's my problem. Listen here. Let me come on the screen. Let me tell you what the issue is with me. I wouldn't have a problem. Look here. It's all wrong. It all stinks. But I maybe would do my head like this. If they took the money and took it and put it in the community and took every dime they got and just went and set the money there for them to have like a few youth programs that were real, where they had real bona fide kids in the neighborhood and in the community going there, able to do their homework when they got out of school, get a hot, fresh meal just in case something was going on, all of that stuff. I would not, you know what? I would say, well, yeah, it was unethical to take that money and go do that with it. You know, it was unethical to pay your daughter for that. But homegirl at least went and put the money out there where the young kids could use it. After school, she got nice little people coming in, talking and teaching them how to hold a checkbook, even though they may not be doing checks in the future. Help them with some math, help them with their, English, help them with STEM. Okay, I'm saying I'm still going to turn my head to the side. You know what I'm saying, Steve? I'm still on side eye just a little bit. days, at least you did that. But girlfriend went down there to the Slauson swap meet and bought that outfit. Oh, Lord have mercy. She went out there to the Slauson swap meet. And for those of you who know, you know. Those of you who do not know, don't know. But if you've been in California IA, then you know where the Slauson swap meet is. But here she is standing in her mother's stead, trying to let everybody know that her mama. Oh, wait a minute. Here we come. I gotta come back because I got one more before I go back on the other side. Hi, I'm not a crook. Okay, let me go back. Lord. Okay. According to the campaign filings, Karen is paid management fees about twice a month in payments that range from $2,000 to $6,000. It was previously reported that Karen, she's a Karen, received $81,650 in campaign funds in 12 installments from October 2020 through June 17th of 2021. Federal regulations do not prohibit candidates or members of Congress from hiring family members of their, members of their family to help them with their campaign. Karen's role in her mother's campaign is to organize the slate mailing operations, and they were where a consulting firm is hired to create a pamphlet that lists the candidate or the policy measures for each person campaigning for the election and advises voters how to cast their ballot. This is a normal practice in California, where Waters has reaped the rewards by appearing in mailers with notable state Democrats, Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Race Newsom, and the Los Angeles District Attorney George Gascon. See all these people, these disbursements. There they go again. I got you, girl. Are you sure? They gonna look. I got to pay my Macy's bill. Harris first made use of the mailers in 2010 when she dished out $33,000 to the Waters campaign in her bid for California Attorney General, and again paying $30,000 when running for Senate. Federal filings show Newsom paid Waters' campaign $45,000 when he sought the lieutenant governor position in 2010, and Gascon handed out $36,500 in his 2020 campaign. Waters' campaign did not immediately respond to the dailymail.com's request for a comment. These people are not what you think they are. I'm sure they just unzip their foreheads, zip it down the back, and set it on the wig stand when they go to bed. Probably look like Gargamel when they go to sleep. They ain't even real. The Congresswoman has repeatedly defended her decision to hire her daughter to run her mailer operations, as well as paying other family members for work on her campaign. Quote, "They do their business and I do mine," she said when reports about the campaign spending first came out way back in 2004. Child, this lady should already be up for retirement. Just imagine her dancing like Madonna was. Holding on to the geriatric pole. All of these people need to go. She says, "We are not bad people." Along with Karen, Waters' son Edward Jr. shared in the slate mail proceeds and occasionally worked as a consultant to campaigns Waters backed. Boy, I tell you, some of these folks are so corrupt. There has to be a stench that reeks from above their office and above their car, above their homes, everywhere they go. There has got to be some stench that reeks. Here is another story with Auntie. This was at the end of last month. Nearly $50,000 in campaign funds again this past year. And I tell you what, here she looks a little bit like George Jefferson. Here, Maxine Waters looks like George Jefferson right here. This is where she looked like George Jefferson. Doesn't she? She looked like George. Weezy! Don't she? Right here, she looked just like her. Grandma pole dancing. Yikes. You guys didn't see Madonna? Yeah, camel toe sexy. Y'all didn't see Madonna holding on to that pole. She was holding on to that pole, honey. She gave pole dancing a whole new meaning. It looked like that pole that you get Unfortunately, there are some people who have to use the pole to get into the shower when they are older and they're debilitated or whatever. Homegirl said, forget that, snatch that pole out that bathroom. Madonna said, snatch that pole out of that bathroom and bring it to me. I'm going to use it on stage. I don't care that I use it every night in the shower. She took that doggone shower pole. She took that shower pole and laid it out there and had them seal it to that. And you know, doggone good well, they put that doggone pole really, really firm on that stage. She didn't fall backwards or nothing. She was getting it though. And look like she had a pamper on. Oh, Lord of mercy. Y'all didn't see Madonna dancing on that pole. Everybody dance on your geriatric pole. Lord have mercy. Let me stop. Let me get into this story because I'm going to tell y'all going to have me in trouble. It all depends. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Ooh, y'all. Y'all said it all depends. Oh my goodness. Let me catch my breath and wipe my eyes. Whoo-wee. Man, I'm here to Sandy say, it all depends. And Mike, that depends. Oh Lord. Oh, let me catch my breath. Let me catch my Let me wipe my eyes. Lord of mercy. Lord of mercy. Okay, hold on. Oh, I got to find it. I have got to find that, y'all. I cannot leave you guys. Wait, for those of you who've not seen it, I can't leave y'all in suspense. Before we leave, we got to see, and honey, I don't know who it was. I don't really know who that was because she had on these gigantic Edith head sunshades. Bigger than my frames. They was like all the way here. Like, you don't see me holding on to this pole. Look at my pamper go. Wait, I gotta stop it. I gotta stop this. I gotta stop this. Oh my goodness. Oh Lord, I'm sorry. Whoo. Okay. Okay, here we go. Here we are. We're back to Auntie George Jefferson. Whew. Oh, I hope this don't have no.
Some automakers believe less is more. Genesis is
on mute. And I hope there's a person talking in the next thing. Let's see, we skip the ad. Does it? Okay, here we go. Here we go.
To Sam Bankman-Fried, making it difficult to regulate the
I would love to talk about Sam Bankman, but that's not what we're looking at. I thought it was the story that we needed, probably moved up in the queue. Anyway, the re-election campaign of Representative Maxine Waters, a Democrat of California, shelled out another $8,000 to her daughter in September, adding to over $1 million to the Congresswoman that the Congresswoman has paid her daughter over the past nearly 2 decades. That's a lot of money. I don't care who you are. That is a lot of money. That's not a little bit of cash. $1 million is a bunch of money. Okay. Oh, Lord have mercy. Whew. Okay, I see you, Mike. Okay. All right. So it says Karen Waters and her company, Progressive Connections, has received over $1 million in payments from Representative Waters' campaign since 2003 for organizing slate mailing operations to bolster her mother's reelection. A federal election commission filing on Wednesday by Citizens for Water show that the Young Waters received two payments totaling $8,000 from the committee in June for the slate mailer management fees, totaling nearly $50,000 for the year. Slate mailing is an uncommon practice for federal elections, where a consulting firm is hired to create a pamphlet of sorts that contains a list of candidates or policy measures and advises voters how to cast their ballots. Representative Waters, the United States House Financial Services Committee Chairman. Wow, boy. Boy. If that ain't, well, let me shut up because that sounds just like, I don't know, putting a crook in front of the bank. Well, I guess that's reality right there, putting crooks working in a bank. Anyway, was reportedly the only federal politician to use a slate mailer operation during the 2020 general election. In 2004, the Los Angeles Times revealed that Waters' campaign had shelled out more than $1 million to other family members over the previous 8 years. Quote, "We don't have to answer your questions," she told the newspaper. "We are not bad people. We, just like you, look like George Jefferson and James Brown." The eyebrow says it all. The eyebrow says it all. I'm going to take this money and do what I want to do with it, and you can't say nothing. I could buy collard greens with it if I wanted to. If I wanted to give it to my daughter or go buy collard greens, I could do it. We could have a bake sale at the church, or we could just fry chicken all weekend. It doesn't matter. I could do whatever I want to do. Waters' campaign did not immediately respond to Fox Digital's request for a comment. Both Democrats and Republicans have paid relatives with campaign contributions over the years. In 2020, Open Secrets published a piece showing incumbent politicians in Congress on both sides of the aisle lavishing their family members with campaign cash. Well, we already know the president was allowing his son to lavish. It was like lavender soap. Lavish. While it is legal for federal lawmakers to employ family members on campaigns, the practice is generally frowned upon by the ethics experts, of course, because you don't want anybody to be able to say that, something was wrong. You don't want that. What you generally want to do is make sure that you keep everything as clean and as above board as you possibly can. So that way, nobody can even say you did something wrong. You know what I mean? You just want to keep it clean. So it says that the House Majority Whip, James Clyburn, has also had a history of shelling out campaign money to his family members, including his daughter and grandson, who received thousands in campaign cash this election. So I guess what they're trying to say is we're going to pay it to somebody if we're going to use this particular method of campaigning, if we're going to use this, for federal means. I don't understand why they would even have to have that. I think that it could be, I could see where it could be frowned upon and looked at as, a little opportunistic because, hey, in the days of internet, why would you use, these little pamphlets to file? And nobody's looking at pamphlets anyway. So, well, no matter what it is, this lady has always been a bit of a treat when it comes to jokes and stuff like that. Yeah, she's always been a bit of a treat. She's always had a load of information, loads of jokes. Here is what we're getting into right now, big baby. Right now, we are talking about none other than the mayor of Dalton. Lord, my eyes. I've been laughing so hard. Okay, so let's just look here. Okay. All righty, let's get this. The first female mayor of Dalton, Illinois, right? But it's really bad because that's not all that she does. She's got two big gigs out there. So this is the first part of the story that we're going to read that was accusing her of something unsurly. All righty, here we go. Here, you saw the video? You guys saw the video? Madonna is the leaked video of the Miami. Okay, so let's look here, you guys. It says the first female mayor of the tiny Illinois village who hired a child gang rapist, Islam, for living like a royal. Now, a while ago, there was a situation where she hired this man who was apparently a friend of hers or something else like that. And he had a history. And when he had the history, she hired him to handle things in the community, like, what is it called when something's wrong with the structure of a building or a house? They send in the person, and that person has to walk through the home or walk through the building to make sure, like a safety inspector or something like that. This guy was allegedly, he was one of the inspectors or something like that. Well, she put him in charge of that. And so when everybody found out what it was that he had done, they say, well, listen, he did this. And when he did this, he was arrested. He was maybe 19, 17, 19, somewhere in there. But the young girl that they ended up doing something to it was a terrible story, tragic all around. But she should not have put him in a position where he was going to end up going in people's homes. Because if she cared for him as a friend or whatever, or a friend or whatever, she should never have put him in there. She made him like the building inspector or something like that, you know, over in that office where they have people out there going out into the cities inspecting places. She made him like the chief of that. And so that really did not do him any good. But nonetheless, let's dig into this story that we're looking at. She's a mess. I believe we've got a couple of videos on her too tonight. I wish that maybe we should just start there with the videos. Let's just double check and see if I've got any of the videos here. Because if I do, we can just look at her because I want to see those videos. Do I got them? That's not it. This is it. Okay, let's just look at this, all right? Let's look at this one first. I want you guys to see the video. Okay, hold on. I'm not going to hold you guys too much longer. Let me get to this one here. Is this it? That's the video. All right, you guys, let's check it out. Tell me if you can hear it. I hope you can. Let this go here.
But first, a South suburban politician under fire for the way she spends tax dollars has come up with let's say a unique strategy to discourage people from running against her.
She is proposing a nearly 90% cut in her position's salary, but only if she is not filling it.
That's right. Our Dane Placco investigates the latest controversy surrounding Dalton Mayor and Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard.
Did you know about this beforehand?
No, absolutely not. No word was given to myself.
Thornton Township trustee Chris Gonzalez was just sitting down at the start of the township's board meeting 2 weeks ago when he was handed a 7-page proposed ordinance requiring an immediate vote.
You had no time to read.
No, and then we get pretty much into the meeting pretty quick.
Leading that meeting, Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard, who also doubles as the mayor of Dalton.
Hey guys, this is Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, the people's mayor.
Henyard is certainly charismatic, often bringing a DJ to board meetings to help her make a point.
Pay me what you owe me.
But she's also controversial, spending tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars to promote herself with billboards and purchase first-class tickets for out-of-town trips, using public employees and vehicles to promote her personal charity, and taking Dalton officers off the street to create a personal security detail that's resulted in thousands of hours of overtime. But back to that ordinance, which passed without Gonzalez's support.
But they're like, I can't believe this. How could someone do that?
What it does is to ensure that Henyard continues to receive her $224,000 a year salary as township supervisor. But if a non-incumbent becomes supervisor, in other words, if someone challenges Henyard and beats her, the salary for that position drops to just $25,000 a year, a pay cut of nearly 90%. Trustee Gonzalez says it's a political poison pill to scare off competition.
Discourage people from running is probably the first thing that comes to mind.
Is this legal?
No, it's so illegal in so many ways.
Municipal Attorney Bert Odelson, who represents Henyard's political opposition in Dalton, says under equal protection of the law, the salaries of elected officials have to be identity blind, meaning they don't change based on the person holding the job.
It's maybe the worst attempt to try to dissuade people from.
They need to fire her.
I've ever seen, and that's a long time.
Henyard isn't facing re-election until 2025, but already potential competitors are circling despite the drastically lower salary, including State Senator Napoleon Harris. But if Henyard is re-elected, she'll continue making the $224K, even if she seems to believe the job is worth a fraction of that. think this is a job that should pay over $200,000 or $25,000?
I mean, probably somewhere in the middle, in all honesty.
The ordinance also lowers the salaries of other elected positions in the township, but again, only if someone new wins the job. It will likely stand as a curiosity, the only elected positions with two different salaries until someone inevitably files a lawsuit. Dane Placco, Fox 32 Chicago.
Important to note here, a spokesperson for Thornton Township declined to comment on this story.
Oh, there we go. All right. I knew I didn't have the speaker back on. I'm glad I didn't do too much. All right. A South suburban politician is under fire for the way that she spends the taxpayers' money. She's had a unique strategy to discourage people from running against her. And I just think that the whole 90% cut in the salary, you know, this chick has actually used billboards to promote herself with their money. And it's almost as if she's trying to set up the campaign that's coming up for next year if she wants to get reelected. I frankly don't know how individuals like this are able to get along, to continue to go on. I really don't know how she is allowed to go on. I mean, I've heard rumbles and rumors that they're starting to investigate her. I've heard that. I've heard things about the feds are looking into it. I've heard all kinds of stuff. But frankly, she has made herself somebody who is untouchable. She argues in their meetings. She lambastes the trustees. She refuses to turn over documentation that shows, once again, what we were just talking about with the with the monthly forms that she's supposed to turn in. She doesn't even turn in the receipts with the stuff that she's asking them for. She uses a credit card and says she doesn't use a credit card. She sat there on the news one night and said, no, I don't handle any of the credit cards. Blatantly lies. She blatantly lies. Here is the story about the billboard. That's the one that I want you guys to listen to. There's a story where it's talking about her and the billboards. That's the one I want you guys to check out. Okay? Is this one. Because that to me was like, are you kidding? And then we'll get back to this other one. I can't believe that any of these people are allowed to get away with the stuff that they are allowed to get away with. That's what gets me. Let me make sure I have this story. Which one is this? Billboards. Right here. That's the fourth tab in. Oh, we got this lady here. This woman here's cuckoo. She's a cuckoo bird. Is this it? I think this might be it. Let's see. Is this the one with the billboards? Yeah, it's the billboards. Let's go ahead and get into this one right quick. Then I'll let you guys go, I promise. I won't hold you. Make you. I don't know what that is. Can I skip it? Yeah, go ahead.
But would you advise one of your candidates to do something like that using taxpayer funds?
No, not using taxpayer funds.
Okay, so if you've driven one of the expressways in the south suburbs recently, you've no doubt seen one of these giant billboards. They feature the name and the face of a smiling local politician. What you may not know is the money for these billboards is coming out of taxpayers' pockets, and that's raising questions for Tiffany Henyard, the Dalton mayor and Thornton Township supervisor, who has already come under fire for spending public money promoting herself.
Dane Placco has the latest chapter in his ongoing investigation into Henyard's questionable spending.
Take a drive to the south suburbs and you can't miss them. 4 giant billboards featuring Tiffany Henyard's name in large letters, along with her picture, smiling down on the thousands of cars going by on Interstate 57 and the Bishop Ford Expressway. What are they advertising? One says fresh produce, another senior services, and this one simply says we offer general assistance. There's a phone number, but you wouldn't know what it's for unless you can read in teeny tiny letters, Thornton Township Supervisor, as you're speeding by. These are the billboards that have gone up along the expressways. We showed the billboards to Bert Odelson, an election attorney who's been working in Illinois politics for 50 years.
When I first looked at it, I thought, what is she running for now? Because that's what it shouts out.
Odelson, who represents a political faction opposed to Henyard and Dalton, says it's clear the billboards are promoting more than township services. He says they're essentially campaign ads.
This is a blatant attempt to promote herself politically. The township should not have paid for these if they did, and I'm sure they did.
They did indeed.
She's not paying
by
it.
Fox 32 under open records laws shows Thornton Township paid more than $10,000 for the vinyl signs themselves, and more than
They paid $10,000. The township paid $10,000 for the vinyls themselves. They're the ones who are paying for this. She has I don't know where she learned government, but she's no respect for the law. She's no respect for their regulations. She's no respect for the people. She talks to individuals like they are idiots. Listen, I see if things are fairly done, all I could say is orange jumpsuits for the lot of them.
$12,000 to Clear Channel Outdoor Advertising for 1 month's rental of the billboards. What was your reaction when you saw it?
Well, first of all, I didn't know anything about them.
Thornton Township trustee Chris Gonzalez says the board was never consulted about the billboards, which he says needed their approval.
Kind of some of the first things that popped in my mind is, what are we doing? This isn't a big sale. We're not selling cars here. I mean, if it's informational, then it should be informational. I mean, there's so many other ways we could have spent that money that would have, directly helped people.
This isn't the first time Henyard has used taxpayer dollars to burnish her own personal image. In fact, on other occasions, she spent a lot more.
Hey guys, this is Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
Earlier this year, Fox 32 showed you how Henyard spent tens of thousands of dollars using employees and vehicles from the township and from Dalton, where she also serves as mayor, for a week-long walk to Springfield to promote her self-named cancer charity, which is yet to file required reporting. And you can't turn your head in Dalton or Thornton Township without seeing Henyard's picture or name. It's on all the government-owned vehicles, buildings, even on the rugs in the township, where we found a Tiffany Henyard 2024 calendar featuring all the important dates to remember, including her birthday.
I would be having a fit if she was my client, telling her not to do this.
Veteran Chicago political consultant Delmarie Cobb says there would be nothing wrong if Henyard were using her own political funds for those promotional materials, especially the billboards.
I actually had a candidate years ago who was running for mayor of Dalton, and that's what we did. We bought billboards along the expressway, because if you're coming and going home all day, and one of the things I always say about billboards is they're working when you're asleep.
In 2011, state lawmakers passed a law banning the practice of politicians putting their names on publicly funded signs.
Okay, wait a
spurred
minute
by these
here.
tollway signs featuring former government.
Okay, so if back in 2011 they banned it, how is she able to get away with it? And isn't that in one way or another grounds to even start an investigation? Isn't there? I mean, listen, I've never run for any city or public offices. I never have. So I don't know how that goes. But I would imagine that there has to be a specific protocol when you need to have enough evidence. You should get the evidence together and get this person out of there. Now, I do know that they did attempt to do a recall on her. Now, I don't know if the recall was just because they felt like she had bad practices, and maybe it was prior to her doing all the rest of the shenanigans, and maybe these things do warrant them just removing her. But when they did the recall, she literally rubbed the recall in their faces and said that I am the mayor now and forever. Ever your mayor, no matter what, the recall did not move me. Let's get into the rest of this, because I'm outraged. I don't know how this stuff is able to keep going. I really don't get it. And here's another thing. Are the folks that are in that township so anesthetized to what's going on with her that they just don't care? Oh, yeah, she does. Up north of 49 says that she has to pay the public back for the signs if they're not cleared by the council. Okay, so isn't there a way up north of the 49th? Isn't there a way that they could remove her? I mean, for illegal things? If they just said that there was a law put up in 2011, and then all of a sudden she does what she's not supposed to do. I mean, I think these people like being ran over. I think these folks like their money being gone, because there'd be no way on the planet that she should be able to get away with this stuff. I'm going to show you another brazen chick in a minute, but this chick right here is off the chain. The one we about. This one right here is just a clown. Okay, she's just an absolute clown. But let's go on ahead and finish this.
Governor Rod Blagojevich. That law does not extend to mayors or other elected officials.
Oh, there it
but
is.
election attorney Odelson believes the billboards do violate state election laws.
It's a crime. Yeah, you're using public funds for something that taxpayer dollars shouldn't be used for.
And just when you think you've seen it all, take a look at this. When the first billboard went up last summer, Thornton was misspelled as Thornton. Another sign had to be ordered, apparently at taxpayer expense. Dane Placco, Fox 32, Chicago.
Boy, oh boy.
So far, Henyard has not responded to any of our questions about the billboards. And tomorrow, Dane has another Henyard investigation. This time, he exposes a new law that cuts the salary of the Thornton Township supervisor by $200,000. But only.
Okay, we just looked at that story. Got another one here. Let me see if this is the one that I want to see.
It was just so crazy when I arrived here Friday and saw the blocks.
Hey, look, we're going to start back.
It was just so crazy when I arrived here Friday. And
this is her bullying.
A South Suburban car show is canceled after the entrance is barricaded with giant concrete blocks.
Now, the sponsor of that show and the Park District are calling it an act of revenge by the mayor in Dalton, Tiffany Henyard.
James
threaten this man.
The Park District is now considering a lawsuit against the mayor.
Always a good time for everybody that comes out. Fun, exciting, good for the community.
For the past 8 years, Darren Bosley has organized an annual car show here in the parking lot of Needles Park in Dalton. But after paying $1,000 to the Park District for this year's permit, Bosley got an unexpected call last Wednesday from Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard's top assistant,
saying that the show would be shut down, but if I move my event to her location on Greenwood, that I will be fine.
Did you take that as a threat?
Yes, I took that as bullying.
Sure enough, when Bosley showed up at the park Saturday morning, he found that giant concrete barricades had been placed at the entrance, and Dalton police were threatening to tow any cars that parked there.
We talking about two different governments.
Ain't there, Dawson?
The park government versus the village government.
Dalton Park District President Cleo Jones says Mayor Henyard has no legal authority over Park District property and believes she didn't want the competition to hurt attendance at her own event, a house music festival a few blocks away.
So I'm not sure what her tactics were other than trying to bully us and push us away, but that's not going to happen here.
We are walking all over Cancer on our way to Springfield.
Henyard is no stranger to controversy. Fox 32 recently reported how Henyard used village employees and funds to pay for a march to Springfield to support a charity in her name. What would you say to the mayor about this?
Get your life together, get your act together. This is wrong for people that spend money with the Park District to try to throw an event, peaceful event, fine event, and it's good for the community, but you're taking that away from everybody.
We left multiple voicemails and emails with the Village of Dalton and the mayor, but so far, no response. The Dalton Park District president says they're considering suing the mayor and the village for overstepping their legal authority. In Dalton, Dane Placco, Fox 32 Chicago.
Now, I'll tell you guys, Nurse Dawson just hit the nail on the proverbial head. She just got through saying, these mammies got to go. I promise you, they are plants. They have to be plants because there cannot be those many dodo birds. Now, here's what they may do. Here's what they might do. They might replace some of these people with people from India. Have you noticed that a lot of women from India are really now going into the local authority, local positions? I mean, if you even look at Kamala Harris, and then there's a few other women. I mean, look at Nikki Haley. There's a lot of women from over there that are going into positions. Maybe they're trying to take over specific areas so that they can push their wheel, what they want to push, by just putting these people to make them say, oh, we're so tired of them. We don't even want them anymore. We don't even want them anymore. We don't want them. So because we don't want them, oh, good. Listen, Mrs. Patel looks really like a nice lady. We used to go to her shop all the time. Well, she's a nice woman. Let's give her a chance. And baby, boy, they need, yes, I need to send you that about the Indians. It's happening here in a county near Houston called Fort Bend. Really? Please send that to me. But you know what? I think, you guys, I think we might be onto something. I'm thinking the reason why they got all of these black chicks cutting up is because, letter A, there is a removal of the black face here in the United States. You remember, you guys, I started talking about the fact that they used to have Aunt Jemima pancakes, Aunt Jemima pancakes mix, and then Aunt Jemima pancake syrup, and so they took that away. Then they took Uncle Ben's with the face of the black guy, he's gone, and then they started removing everything. They said, "Oh, this is all so racist. Don't you need us to help you? We're going to help you. We're going to take these things away." So that now what they're doing is, in a minute here, oh, really? Up north of the 49th, really? I believe that. I believe that. Excuse me. Okay, Mike. What people are missing is the removal of the East Indian Trading Post during the Civil War. It is now coming back. There is something to this, and I think I want to see if I can. I don't know if it's probably too late to call him. There you go, Sandy. But I honestly and truthfully believe that what they're trying to do, see, there's been a switch here, and I believe what they're trying to do is move the regular folks up out the way and bring these people in. And I believe that once these people hit a certain level of illegality, then they'll go ahead and remove them, and they'll go back into the recesses. They'll take their one lump sum payment from the government or whomever it is that's backing them, allegedly, and move them on. That's what I think. I think they're going to get moved on. You guys tell me what you think. That could be it, because there's just too many idiots out here doing this stuff. All right, let's go into the next story. Oh, yeah, we got more. I'm going to start with this one right here. And then we're going to look at how she conducted herself in business. All right, here it is. You see her. She's on the screen. Let's go. Let me make it a little larger. Oh, I wonder if this is a story. I wonder if they're talking about her. Okay, so it's the mayor of East Point was sentenced for fraudulently applying for. Oh, is this it? Is this the story? Let me see.
Trouble. Kim Adams tracking all these different possibilities. Kim.
Oh, that's the weather. All right. So anyway, it goes on to say that the mayor of East Point has been sentenced for fraudulently applying for grants under the CARES Act way back in November of 2020. Okay. Oh, let's see. Okay, according to authorities, Monique Owens has fraudulently applied by claiming her business was 51% veteran-owned and had 100 to 249 employees. She received a $10,000 from the Macomb County grant. She pled no contest to making false statements in September and paid $10,000 to Macomb County in restitution. Owens is sentenced Thursday. She was sentenced on this past Thursday of November the 9th, to 6 months of probation and 100 hours of community service at a nonprofit organization. Owens was elected mayor back in 2019, but failed to make the general election ballot for 2023's election. She'll be succeeded by a man by the name of Michael Kleinfeld. I wonder how Michael Kleinfeld looks. I wonder what he looks like. Let's see. Michael Kleinfeld. Is his face here? Nope. I wonder what he looks like. Anybody? Anybody know? Let me get his face. Let's see if we can find his face. Let's find him. Copy. Put it here. Let's put it there. Paste it. Let's just see if we can get a good gander. He's a handsome kid. Okay, let's see if you guys can see him. Hold on. Let's see if you guys can see him, and then we'll move on. I'm going to let you guys hear her in action. This is the kid right here. This is Kleinfeld. This little guy here. He's the mayor of East Point now. I wonder where he's from. Maybe he grew up in that town. Nonetheless, I'll do some digging on him and see what we can find out. But anyway, here you go, right here. This is Homegirl. She actually had some heated exchanges with the people in that county. And let me show you what she did. We'll look at all the stuff because she's done some real amazing things. I don't mean that in a good way.
In this video, Mayor Owens has heated disputes with 3 East Point citizens. Each of those citizens told me that they attended this meeting to speak on behalf of the character of that council member that Mayor Owens is seeking a PPO against. Here's what happened.
I'm here in support of Councilman Curley.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna stop you right there, or we're gonna stop the council meeting because I'm not gonna let you speak on something that has to do with police, with the police and.
That's the mayor.
That's East Point Mayor Monique Owens sounding off on residents supporting Council Member Harvey Curley. Here's a background that led to this boiling point. Owens says Curley assaulted her back in June at the Cruising Gratiot event.
That little man don't
She's
look like he
seeking
could
a personal
assault a
protection
fly.
order. Curley denies the allegation. I showed this East Point residents video of a city council meeting for the first time. That's Mayor Monique Owens.
Oh man, she in a tight situation, I say.
I'm gonna have a point of order and I'm gonna talk over you. This is gonna be one of those meetings y'all never seen before. You're not gonna disrespect people that have things going on.
What is the city council for if she can't go in front of the city council?
Hey,
Talk about public things.
She can talk about public things, but I'm giving her a warning, just like we have always give people warnings before they spoke on certain things.
That's inappropriate.
I reached out to Mayor Owens, city council members, and citizens to meet me here and share their perspective of what happened. Everyone agreed except for Mayor Owens, who stopped replying to my requests for an interview.
Her actions were deplorable. It had nothing to do with her filing for PPO or an assault charge.
The public can still come out and they can scrutinize us all they want. I mean, that's part of the position.
Yes, we have First Amendment rights, but no one, even though we have First Amendment rights, no one is allowed to say anything racial or discriminatory at that mic, and I will stop them if it's going to cause disorder.
2 more East Point citizens attempted to speak and had disputes with the mayor.
What I consider to be outrageous claims.
You're not going to sit here and assault me, lady I never met. Don't call my name because I don't know what book you're reading, and I don't care.
Enough is enough.
This is a personal matter. It's not about criticizing. You can criticize my policy. You stop it.
Let the people
You stop it.
The meeting ended by all council members walking out.
That's it. I guess we're done. Thank you very much for running this city.
The meeting lasted for about 14 minutes until, as you saw, city council members walked out. If you would like to watch the full meeting, you can find it with this story on our homepage, WXYZ.com. Reporting in East Point today, Sarah Grimmer, 7 Action News.
Okay, so you guys saw that. All right. So in tandem with her lying on that application when she received those funds back in 2020, she's also a bully because in those public meetings, as you could see, they basically said, hey, wait a minute, what's going on? Huh? Hey, what's going on with you? How are you? I do love East Point, though. I live in West End, you see, but that's bad though, right, Mel? That's really bad to consider the fact that not only did she come out and say, okay, yeah, I did it. She pled no contest. And not only did she plead no contest, but all they did was gave her probation and then turned right around and said, okay, you got to do 100 hours of community service somewhere. And with the way she is, who's to say that she's even going to do any of that? She could go ahead and have somebody sign off with the way she's well connected. And it seems like people love to be involved and cover up secrets from individuals who conduct themselves in this manner. I haven't seen anybody that was, equal to her or any of these other individuals step up and say, hey, you know what? This is wrong. Stop doing what you're doing. Get yourself together. The woman said, thank you for destroying the city. That's not healthy. That's not good. Okay. She really does. She really does, Joy. She really, really does. Now, I want you to see how she conducted herself with the judge. She conducted herself in such a fashion, she looked like a crazy person. Listen, look at how I want you to look at her facial expressions and then the way she conducted herself.
We begin tonight with that courtroom clash between the mayor of East Point and the judge. We begin tonight with that courtroom clash between the mayor of East Point and the judge during her sentencing hearing today. Monique Owens is now sentenced to 6 months probation. She also has to perform 100 hours of community service for misusing COVID-19 relief money for her personal business. 7 Action News reporter Sarah Michaels is outside Macomb County Court with how Owens caused the judge to be outraged inside that courtroom.
In the 4 years that Monique Owens has been East Point's mayor, she has been charged with fraud and sued by residents. You could say that it's been a rocky road, much like court Thursday morning.
Even though I fled, I know that I am not a fraud.
Even though in September, East Point Mayor Monique Owens pled no contest for fraudulently applying for a grant, Thursday, at her sentencing, she said to cameras,
"Don't believe the allegations that you have heard about me."
The Macomb County judge didn't take that well.
Are you talking to the TV or are you talking to me as the judge? Because I don't think you're talking to me as the judge.
Look at her eyes.
And you're really telling me you did absolutely nothing wrong, and therefore this case should be proceeding differently.
This fall, the 39-year-old mayor was charged for falsely stating on a 2020 CARES Act grant that her business, Naturally Funny Talent Agency, was 51% veteran-owned. It's not, and that it had more than 100 employees. It doesn't. Owens received $10,000 from the grant, and in September was ordered to pay that money back in restitution, which she did. The crime adds to Owens' tumultuous time in office. She's also being sued by East Point residents for suppressing citizen comments in 2022.
I'm here in support of Councilman Curley.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna stop you right there, or we're gonna stop the council meeting.
Are you disappointed in the mayor?
Very, very disappointed.
Owens made history in 2019 as the city's first Black mayor. Tanja Price says that she has lived in East Point for 10 years and was thrilled to vote for Owens 4 years ago. Now, after years of drama, she says that she's glad to see Owens' term coming to an end.
I found that very offensive. I think that if you do something wrong, if you really have a change in heart, a change in your ways, what's to smile about?
Price is referring to this smile in court Thursday. I reached out to Owens for comment and did not hear back. The judge ultimately sentenced her to 100 days of community service and 6 months probation, along with a few choice words.
Personally, I think you are a disappointment to our community and to the citizens of East Point.
And this week, East Point has elected a new mayor, Michael Kleinfeld. He has said that his top priority as mayor will be to improve the perception of East Point. At the Macomb County Courthouse, Sarah Michaels, 7 Action News.
All right, thank you so much, Sarah.
New details tonight in the arrest of a high-ranking TSA official picked up by authorities at the Atlanta airport last month. Maxine.
Okay, so let me just give you guys an idea of who this is. All right, so what we're looking at right now is a person by the name of McManaman. And Ms. McManaman was picked up by the TSA. She is a TSA official, and she was actually detained at the airport that she, at her own airport in Atlanta. But apparently she was involved in a quit claim situation that was found to be an illegal transaction, that her mother is not well, and both Ms. McManaman, what a name, and her father are both accused of signing off on the quitclaim deed in her mother's absence. I hope I've set that up. But it's another Black woman who's given an unbelievable opportunity with an exceptional job, exceptional pay, a great deal of responsibility, something that should be taken with a little bit more of a sober mindset. Okay. Anybody that does things that are, fraudulent within their business dealings and in the companies that hire them, we frown upon them. My main purpose for bringing this up is the fact that there seems to be an ongoing trend within the community or the communita where we are, and these are the things that they're doing. So I have to shed light on this because, again, there seems to be this theme. And my question is tonight, do you think, again, that these things could be happening simply because they want to shed light on how bad some people can be? And then with looking at how bad they can be, now bring in another group of people because, again, I say it looks like some folks are being erased, and that's over there on my BitChute channel. Erase is the name of the video. Okay, let's get into this.
McManaman had been serving as the assistant federal security director at Hartsfield-Jackson.
Now she's being held in the Clayton County Jail. The Fox 5i team spent the day. The Fox 5i team has the latest.
A few days after Christmas, Maxine McManaman stepped off an international flight at the same airport where she works in security, only to be detained by U.S. Customs and Border Protection. But while it all sounds like high-level intrigue, We found the allegations boil down to a nasty family squabble.
Before I go inside your bag, anything sharp?
For years, Maxine McManaman helped keep the skies safe, overseeing the screening of airline passengers. She served with the U.S. Transportation Security Administration for 21 years, almost since the TSA's inception after 9/11. But on December 28th, a fall from grace, as she herself was detained by federal law enforcement officials. A far cry from posting on Facebook about having a blast in Jamaica just a day earlier. According to her father, she was returning from a vacation there. TSA officials would only say yesterday that the charges were, quote, non-work related and out of St. Lucie County, Florida, north of West Palm Beach. So what could have the assistant federal security director for the world's busiest airport detained at her own airport, now sitting in the Clayton County Jail without bond, charged as a fugitive from justice? The Fox 5i team has learned an accusation by her own brother.
She is accused of forging a quitclaim deed where she had signed a document basically conveying a property belonging to a family member over to her and her father that had also been arrested for the same thing.
According to this narrative from an affidavit by Port St. Lucie Police Department Detective Bucata, police believe McManaman and her father, Delroy Chambers Sr., filed an illegal property deed in order to finagle this Florida home out from under her brother, Delroy Chambers Jr. of Atlanta. The home had been owned in the mother's name alone. The police affidavit says that in 2010, the mother signed documents giving her son, Delroy Chambers Jr., power of attorney. Chambers Jr. told police that since then, their mother has been suffering from dementia and that their father, Chambers Sr., has been abusing her and exploiting her and having her sign documents and failing to properly take care of her, resulting in her admission to a hospital multiple times. But police say a major line was crossed in December 2022 when McManaman and Delroy Chambers Sr. signed this quitclaim deed, placing the home in their names.
Going, behind the owner's back and saying that they are and forging a document as if he had given them the home is a crime. Their intent was to pass it off as if it was legal, which it was not.
According to Port St. Lucie police records, a detective spoke to McManaman about all of this in April. She said she had power of attorney. Police not buying it. In a phone conversation, Delroy Chambers Sr., who was 80, told Fox 5 Atlanta, quote, "It's a family thing," saying his daughter was only trying to protect him from losing the home. As for his son, he asked, quote, "How can you do this to your sister?" For his part in the case, Delroy Chambers Sr. was arrested in December and charged with 2 counts of exploitation of an elderly or disabled adult, 2 counts of forgery, and simple neglect.
Okay, so the story's still going, but I want to stop for a second because that is one of the themes that we hear a lot of times in the Black community, and that is, how could you do that to your sister? How could you do that to your brother? How could you do that? No, how could they do the things that they did? You see, here's what happens oftentimes. Oftentimes what goes on, I want you to see this lady's picture too, by the way. Let me let you see her. This is her mugshot. That's the same lady we just got to looking at. But the question always is, like the father said, how could you do this to your sister? How could you and your daughter do that to your son and her brother? How could this McManaman do this to her family? McManaman. How could you do that? How? The TSA manager was arrested in Atlanta Wednesday for allegedly falsifying documents. The court document revealed that Maxine McManaman was accused of falsifying a quitclaim deed, a document that transfers the property from one person to another. The deed allegedly transferred property from one of McManaman's relatives to she and her father, Delroy Chambers Sr. However, the deed required the signature of someone else who was not there. When the deed was signed, according to court documents, McManaman was accused of falsely making a public record. Chambers Sr., her daddy, was also accused of exploiting and abusing an elderly woman and having a mistress while failing to take care of his wife. So do you see how the corruption just flows? It's not a little bit of corruption. These people come from corrupt seeds. They come from corrupt seeds. This chick is in cahoots with her daddy, and her daddy had the mistress and abusing the elderly wife. Elder abuse is against the law. Abusing somebody who has a mental illness or who is unable to defend themselves or any of that, that is something that is not, that's not smiled at. McManaman was accused of falsely making the public record. Chambers was also accused of exploiting and abusing an elderly woman, his wife, and having a mistress while failing to take care of her. According to court documents, McManaman claimed to have the power of attorney over the woman when the quitclaim deed was filed. But a judge later determined the power of attorney was held by her brother, not just someone else, her brother. In interviews with detectives, McManaman denied any claims Chambers Sr. was abusing the woman or any knowledge of him, of his relationship with an accused mistress, which means he was probably having the mistress sign off on some things while McManaman had everything to do with it. Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. This is the type of stuff that I'm disgusted with. And I know that it happens all over. I know that there are Hispanics that cut up this way. I know that there are Asians who might cut up this way. I know that there are white folk who might cut up this way. But I'm going to tell you right now, there are too many of us's cutting up this way for this stuff to be a coinky-dink. High power positions that are notably in the public eye, it shows me that these women just don't care. These people that may or may not be used by the powers that be, they do not care. And I don't know what that is. I'm just going to say that right now. I don't know what that right there. Ooh, handsome woman. I don't know what that is. I don't know what it is. I don't. I think we've covered everybody. McManaman was one of the last ones we were going to cover tonight. Yeah, McManaman was one of the last ones that we were going to cover. We covered her. Oh, no. There's two that we did not cover. And we've gone a long time. But what I will do is I will say that the chick that's up top there after Trump, something up with her. And we already know what you guys call her, Beetlejuice. Something ain't right there either. Well, we've already been going for a good little minute. I don't want to belabor the time. I don't want to drag it out and let you guys be sitting up here all this time. We got two more people to cover. Okay. So let me look up the other folks that we need to cover. Let me bring them up to I got to clear some of these tabs out and bring up the other people. Let's go on ahead before we bring up more people. We're going to go ahead and cover Lori Lightfoot. Let's cover Lori Lightfoot. Okay. Let's cover Lori. Let's get McManaman off the screen, and we'll go ahead and pull up the story that talks pretty much about how she pretty much shot herself in the foot. And that's what's going on with most of these folks. They go in guns a-blazing, they do a lot of things, and all they needed to do was chill. What is this? Is this it? I hope so.
Lori Lightfoot ends her term as Chicago's mayor on Monday. WTTW News reporter Heather Sharon is here with a deep dive into Lightfoot's legacy. Heather.
Once determined to earn a place among Chicago's transformational leaders, Lightfoot saw her agenda falter amid the COVID-19 pandemic and a series of self-inflicted wounds.
Our mayor, Lori Lightfoot.
February 14th, 2020 might have been the last normal day for Mayor Lori Lightfoot. She spoke before a well-heeled crowd gathered for a luncheon hosted by the City Club of Chicago about the deep-seated problems facing the city.
Poverty is killing us.
Am I making you uncomfortable? I mean to.
But just 4 weeks later, the COVID-19 pandemic swept Chicago, upending Lightfoot's tenure as mayor of the third largest city, forcing her to jettison many of the big plans she started to lay out in her inaugural address.
When public officials cut shady backroom deals, they get rich and the rest get the bill. Stopping it isn't just in the city's interest, it's in the city council's interest.
That gesture poisoned Lightfoot's relationship with much of the city council. Lightfoot wanted reforms to limit council members' power to have the final say on projects in their wards, so-called aldermanic prerogative. In the end, she leaves office with the largely unwritten, decades-old practice intact. Lightfoot's relations with the city council reached an all-time low when Alderwoman Jeanette Taylor blocked a vote on Lightfoot's pick to serve as the city's top lawyer. Lightfoot left the rostrum and confronted Taylor. They argued for several minutes, with Taylor growing animated as Lightfoot seethed with anger and frustration.
Okay, so she and everybody for clarification, yes, she is no longer in office, but what we're doing here is laying out the pattern for how people were cutting up. Okay, how people were cutting up at one point or another. And she is definitely one of the individuals who was really out there by herself for a minute, right? She was out there by herself for a minute, cutting up and showing out and doing a lot of stuff that she was not supposed to do. You guys remember that? She was that person that was just out there doing her thing, cutting up. And you know what, Roosevelt Media News? Mwah. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. I appreciate you, baby. I really do. Thank you. But she was one of the women back during the pandemic that was really laying down a lot of things. She was showing how hypocritical she was, going out there, getting her hair cut, telling everybody else they did not need to get their hair done, and even went on this diatribe about not getting your hair done and, you know, don't do it yourself at the house and all this other crazy stuff. And then they found her, as well as Nancy Pelosi, out getting their hair cut. These are the kinds of things that laid the foundation, I believe, for other people to say, well, hey, I can do it too. If they can cut up like this, I can cut up as well. And so now I'm seeing it is a trend. And this woman here she was just off the chain. These other ones are off the chain as well. But again, my question is, they allowed individuals. Why did they allow these individuals to go ahead and continue doing what they were doing and not stopping them in their tracks when they knew that they were doing egregious things? Which is why I believe, just like Nurse Dawson said, it's a plant. They're plants. Because there's no way any regular person could go through their own job and do things like this. So let's go ahead and finish listening to what they're talking about here.
Lightfoot also found herself at odds with the Chicago Teachers Union, resulting in an 11-day strike in October 2019. The mayor had rebuffed the union's demand that the city do more to ensure students and their families had affordable and safe places to live, access to mental health care, and smaller class sizes.
They say I'm tough.
Today, Mayor Lightfoot doubled down.
They say I get angry.
She's had some tough battles.
They say sometimes I take things personally. You know what I say? They're absolutely right.
By the time Lightfoot launched her re-election campaign, she had spent much of her time in office at loggerheads with many of Chicago's progressive political organizations, all but ensuring they would support someone else in 2023. The COVID-19 pandemic offered Lightfoot an opportunity to reboot her tenure. Lightfoot's brusque warnings about the deadly virus were embraced by scared Chicagoans huddling in their homes, and Lightfoot leaned into the internet memes and jokes, winning national attention and acclaim.
Just stay home. Save lives.
But the focus on the memes and the videos and the tweets obscured Lightfoot's serious disagreement with Governor J.B. Pritzker, who moved to shut down Chicago's bars and restaurants and then schools over Lightfoot's objections. As the first wave of the COVID-19 pandemic receded, Lightfoot saw an opportunity for the city to rebuild into a more equitable place to live, work, and play, the heart of Lightfoot's Invest Southwest initiative, designed to address the fundamental problems that have tormented those communities for decades.
This will be this kind of transformation that generations from now will be talking about as the second Chicago Renaissance. This is our moment.
So Lightfoot's political problems continue. The city council's progressive caucus revolted over Lightfoot's decision to use $300 million in COVID-19 federal relief funds to cover the cost of salaries and benefits for the Chicago Police Department. Lightfoot called that criticism dumb. The COVID-19 pandemic sparked a surge of crime and violence that is yet to recede, defining the race for mayor. And as crime remained stubbornly high, Lightfoot declined to shift her strategy and stood by the deeply unpopular police superintendent, David Brown. But Lightfoot's public safety legacy will largely be defined by her response to the unrest that hurtled across the city after a Minneapolis police officer murdered George Floyd.
Behind me, you can see the State Street Bridge is still up, as are most bridges over the Chicago River, to severely restrict access here into the loop.
Lightfoot raised all but one of the bridges into and out of downtown for the first time in modern Chicago history, while imposing a curfew, shutting down the CTA, and calling out the Illinois National Guard for the first time since the late 1960s. The image of the raised bridges became a symbol for many of Lightfoot's decision to prioritize the safety of the wealthy and white residents who live downtown, along with the businesses and stores in the loop, while leaving Black and Latino Chicagoans to fend for themselves on the south and west sides. Mayor Lightfoot declined our invitation to discuss her legacy and how she hopes to be remembered as Chicago mayor.
And who can forget that summer? But of course, you know, we've got Spotlight Politics coming up.
Hello, how are you?
Well, I mean, it's been a crazy day, but I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Man, you know what? We're about to close up. I'm glad to see you here right as we're getting ready to leave, because I wanted to get your take on a few of these things. You know, there's a lot of women right now that are running amok. And like I said, I had to boldly say it, because I think what happens a lot of times is, you know, for the most part, and I'm sure you can attest to this, in our community, a lot of times Black folk will cut up and we won't say nothing. We just be sitting back trying to hope it goes away really quickly. But I think that's a problem within the community, is that nobody wants to be the person to stand up and say something. Now, there have been a lot of people such as yourself and a few of the people that I know that have gotten up and have said a few things about different people. But what do you think about the trend that it looks like these individuals are all sort of partying together? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's just too many coincidences. It's just too much. What do you think about the whole coincidence mindset? Do you think it's a coinky dink, or do you think that this is real, that there's this many nuts roaming the cities unchecked?
Well, I'm gonna break down something, and it might seem off base, but if you look at it, it's not. You saw what happened with some tunnels up there in New York last week? All right. Who the puppets? Who the puppet master behind them? They just working, pulling out the strings of the puppets behind them. That's all. So I know Dawson called them the mammies, but the mammies, they got a puppet master behind them, and they kind of like they throw them out there, you know, hey, you know, you do this job, but then after, you know, they always pull the script back and say, hey, look, at the end, you were just the bait. As long as we get away, it's all good. Because even, you know, they had all that Kent Williams, all that stuff. They're going always, the only question you ever got to ask, whose benefits? And that's why all them big stories that came out last week, they was able to get away with them tunnels and all that. Even the Fani Willis story, that's able to let them stay a little bit hidden a little bit longer. You know, you can talk about whatever happened in Yemen. But if those creeps allowed to run cover, the mammies ain't doing nothing but serving a nice bit of cover. That's it. Everyone you talked about, from what's his name, Fanny, and this other one from
and A.G. James. I want to talk about her because, hey, Frank Nitty. Okay, so I'm gonna read this right here. AG, corrupt AG Letitia James covered up sex harassment complaint against the top aide. This was back in December. Ibrahim Khan. Okay, so the deal is, how did that benefit her, covering that up? Because now it's got her looking like an idiot even more than we already felt she was. It's got her whole rump out. It's like she put on her pantyhose, got a big old hole in the butt part, and then went to the bathroom at church, used the bathroom and tucked her whole entire dress inside them busted pantyhose. Okay? That's exactly what this looks like. You're going to go cover somebody else, and then it comes out and exposes you later. Ignorant. It says New York Attorney General Tisha James covered up sexual harassment allegations against her own chief of staff for political purposes rather than pursuing the claims with the same zest that she has put into her probe of the now ex-governor Andrew Cuomo, his rep charged. James, chief of staff Ibrahim Khan, 38, resigned after being slapped with multiple harassment complaints, her office confirmed on Friday. But the AG was actively lying about her probe of Khan, who, by her own definition, faces serious allegations, insisted Cuomo spokesperson Rich Azzopardi, what a name, quote, "This is more proof that Tish James has corrupted the AG's office, abusing power to further her own political ambitions through a sham report." I'm going to stop right there because that's the point that I'm trying to make. Everything is a big cover up because, see, here's the deal. I believe that they all think that each person has the other person's back. I really believe they think they have the backing. I think some of these people are so emboldened in the stuff that they do because they're so hyped up that they truly and honestly believe that they don't have anybody that's going to come against them. What do you think? Because I would not cover up for nobody. It's going to come back. Tell me what you think. I know we got to get out of here, but go ahead. Tell me what you think about that.
Man, look, I mean, hey, man, to each his own. Hey, look, that's the hill you choose to die on. That's the chill you choose to die on. Let's put it like that. But, you know, hey, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice. No, fool me twice, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice.
I mean, they just keep on running. Fool me once.
Mm-hmm. The orange boomerang, absolutely, Sandy.
Shame on me, but they fooling. They kind of like, you know, they just setting themselves up for a big.
It's gonna be a big fall. It's gonna be a giant exodus. It's gonna be a boomerang. It's gonna be an exodus, and when that exodus happens, it's gonna be a huge replacement. Mm-hmm.
Don't you think that more by them being the fool people then, but now people are starting to understand or overstand what's going on? I would think they would want to start because all you're doing is setting yourself up for public ridicule.
They don't care about that because I believe they've been promised some pie in the sky. I'm so glad you came on to join me. As we're at the 2-hour mark now. I just wish that you weren't busy earlier because you came on. I should have asked you all to come on. And then there's some people who have reached out to me in my email that say they want to come on. So what I'm going to do is reach out to them too. And we'll see when we all come up together real soon because I really want to have more folks to come in and give us their opinions about stuff. I appreciate you for coming. We're at the 2-hour mark now. I thank you for showing up. And thank you for having me on your show. Twice or so. I've been hanging out with you a couple of times, maybe once or twice here in the most recent past. And I thank you for that. You have some very stimulating talks over there on your channel. And I know the topics that you bring up are some very juicy ones, and they're ones you could dig your teeth into, sink them real deep. So I thank you for having me over there, and thank you for showing out tonight. I'm gonna put you down here for just a second as I say goodbye to everybody else. Y'all, thank you so much for being here with me tonight as we discuss this. And the topic that we have, why are all these unethical Black women in leadership? And then my own answer was because they just don't care. Because they just don't care. And that's the danger. I remember back in the day when they used to say, oh, look up to this person because you could be like him or her when you grow up, Bob, Betty, you could be like these people. Thank you again, Roosevelt Media, for supporting the channel tonight. You are tonight's sponsor, and I just want to thank you for being here, and I want to thank you for blessing us. But I think a lot of times when there's not going to be nobody for them to look up to. They already got busts of George Floyd. They got murals of George Floyd. These are the people that the Black kids in the future are going to have to look up to. So if they thought that Black folks was doomed before, they really going to be doomed in the future. if this is the best, this is not the best. This is a setup. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys for being here. Remember what we always say on any falafel. Are you hungry? On any of the Felicia Lockhart Group publications, and that is that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every single word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High. Remember to take care of yourselves, because ain't nobody else going to do it. Me and Sandy talk about it all the time. Ain't nobody else going to do it. Nobody else going to do it. And if they're not going to do it, you got to take care of yourself first. And then you can reach around and take care of those who are worthy of having you take care of them. So you guys remember to do me one big favor, and that is when I see you again, I want you to let me know that you're taking care of my friend, because my friend is you. Peace.
To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day.